believe that somebody my niece, just like they her mother.
And what scares me about that is that if there's other guys out there that's doing that or have done that, and that are forgiven now, I would say.
What if we've all been played? What if the tragic ends of Whitney Houston and her daughter Bobby Christina weren't the heartbreaking coincidences we were told, but something far more sinister, premeditated, orchestrated, and executed by the very people who claim to love them? What if Ray J, the man who was always lurking in the background of Whitney's final days, wasn't some harmless sidekick, but a deeply involved operator in one of Hollywood's darkest, most twisted conspiracies? Hollywood has been shaken to its core. The whispers have turned into roars. Allegations, connections, and receipts are surfacing that threaten to topple some of the biggest power players in the industry. People like Diddy, Clive Davis, and yes, Ray J.
About artists paying victims to keep their name out of it. People do catching all day. Somebody has the truth, somebody pays you to keep it quiet, and hopefully that money that you got paid secures your happiness while you watch the lie continue to succeed.
The glitz and glamour of Hollywood hiding something absolutely vile. Behind the designer gowns, red carpet smiles, and Grammy trophies, there's a pit of secrets where power means everything and loyalty can cost you your life. Whitney wasn't just a star. She was a symbol. Her voice moved the world. But in her final days, she was trapped, used, and ultimately silenced. And then Bobby Christina, found in the exact same way as her mother, in a bathtub, intoxicated, gone too soon. How could anyone look at that and still call it coincidence? No, this wasn't random. This was a chilling pattern. The signs scream of ritual, of control, of a powerful group making sure their secrets never come out.
And her and Clive had a fight 2 days before. And from what I was told, Bobby Christina was present for some of that fight.
And right in the middle of it all, Ray J, the man once dismissed as just a friend or ex-friend, but that story is falling apart big time. Because there's a new side to Ray J one that's being whispered about in corridors where even Hollywood insiders tread lightly. Could he have been a fixer? A man tasked with burying secrets, whatever it takes? His name keeps popping up in connection with missing tapes, buried scandals, and freak-off parties, the same disturbing parties tied to Diddy. These weren't your average celeb get-togethers. These were trap houses disguised in glitter, where reputations were bought, sold, and destroyed. And now, rumors are flying that there's missing footage that could ruin not just Diddy, not just Clive Davis, but Ray J too. If Whitney and Bobby Christina were part of that footage, what were they caught in? And how deep did the deception go?
Referred to me as Wild King Nights. And what a Wild King Night was when him and a guest would go to a hotel room or be at his home, his bedroom, and they would have intimate gatherings. I would have to go and prep that hotel room, which consisted of baby oil Astroglide.
Let's get real. When Ray J casually dropped that cryptic bombshell in a documentary, people do catch and eliminate all day, chills ran down spines. That's not slang you hear lightly. That's industry code for making people disappear permanently. And Ray said it like it was just another Tuesday. He's painted a picture of a Hollywood where secrets don't just get buried, they get erased. Where someone has the truth, someone pays, and then silence falls like a curtain. Did Whitney know something too dangerous? Was she about to speak out? Is that why she was targeted? And then there's that bathtub pattern again. One tragedy might be a coincidence, two under nearly identical circumstances. That's a message. That's a threat to anyone thinking of stepping out of line. Something ritualistic, something terrifying. These deaths weren't just personal losses, they were warnings.
I believe that there are several people that wanted Bobby Christina, but I think the purpose of her was to gain full access to Whitney Houston's estate.
Leah Brown, Bobby Brown's own sister, isn't staying quiet. She's been calling out Ray J for years. According to her, he wasn't just Whitney's runner boy, and that term, it doesn't just mean errand guy. It means someone delivering the unthinkable, drugs, messages, threats. Was he the gatekeeper between Whitney and the elite who wanted her silenced? Leola's words were ignored for too long. But now, in the context of everything else unraveling, they're impossible to dismiss. Could Whitney and her daughter have been silenced because they saw too much? Because they became liabilities in an industry built on secrets? Let's talk about those freak-off parties again. Witnesses claimed they were dens of coercion, hidden cameras, and control. People lured in, filmed, and later blackmailed. And once you're in, you either play the game or you're erased. Did Whitney and Bobby Christina realize too late that they were just pawns?
I thought he was this clean businessman who rise to the top because he was such a powerful and smart, educated man. I had no idea that he had this other side to him. And when I started to get exposed to his lifestyle, I started to really realize, like, this guy has an addiction. It's not just, once every few weeks, it's every day, every hour.
And now comes the real smoking gun, a missing tape. A tape that supposedly shows it all. Whitney, Bobby Christina, major music execs, and yes, Ray J. A tape that could blow the lid off the entire industry. But guess what? That tape is gone. And guess who's being accused of making sure it disappeared? Ray J. Was he protecting himself or carrying out orders from someone much higher up? Because this isn't just about celebrity drama. This is about power, control, and a potential criminal conspiracy that spans decades. Attorney Tony Busby, representing multiple victims in lawsuits connected to Diddy, said it clearly. He's not just going after Diddy, he's going after the enablers. The men behind the curtain, the ones who kept the machinery running. Could Ray J be one of them?
Been afraid of coming forward. They've been afraid of what he could potentially do to them within the industry, what he could do to them professionally, maybe even personally. And so yes, it's been a dark secret they've held on to for a very, very long time.
It's hard to ignore now. Whitney and Bobby Christina's deaths weren't just tragic, they were too identical. Alone, isolated, betrayed by those around them, found in bathtubs, again. And these weren't accidents, these were red flags. A curse, maybe, but more likely, ritual. A cold, calculated pattern meant to send a message. The people who did this weren't amateurs. They had power, they had access, and now, with Diddy under federal investigation, the ties between these deaths and the bigger network of exploitation are becoming harder and harder to deny.
Centerpiece of a lot of what happened during direct testimony were freak-offs. And what the prosecution tried to show was that he forced and or coerced her into doing these freak-offs. And we've talked about this earlier this week, that at least my opinion is that in a lot of these, the prosecution just didn't close the loop. It was something she felt.
This isn't just another tabloid headline. This is the kind of story that makes the industry tremble. If true, it could dismantle legacies and expose crimes that have gone unpunished for far too long. Whitney and Bobby Christina knew something. That much is clear. And now, instead of answers, we have silence. A void where justice should be. But now, Ray J, the man who once skated under the radar, is being looked at in a whole new light. He's no longer just Whitney's companion, he's the man at the center of the storm, his potential cleaner for Hollywood's darkest secrets. And in his own interviews, he's starting to show cracks. His words don't match his expressions. His vague admissions seem more like confessions.
He cornered me, and then he asked me, with his arm up, he asked me, "How you doing?" I'm kind of like, wow, this is what the heck? Very uncomfortable. And then he rubbed his hand down my breast. He said, "If you need anything at all, you let me know."
Let this sink in. Ray J admitted in front of cameras that hush money flows like water in Hollywood, that people pay to keep things quiet. Somebody has the truth. Somebody pays you to keep it quiet, he said. That line hits like a freight train. Was he talking about himself? About Whitney? Did he know what was coming for her? Or did he help it happen? Now bring Clive Davis into the mix, the man who discovered Whitney, shaped her career, controlled her every move. And he just happened to throw a pre-Grammy party the very night her body was discovered, mere floors above. Imagine this. Upstairs, Whitney is lifeless in a bathtub. Downstairs, the Hollywood elite clinks champagne glasses, music blaring, laughter echoing, as if nothing happened.
Strictly for the purposes of financial gain for those who have access to her estate, including Clive Davis.
Clive Davis isn't just a big name, he's one of the biggest. His ties to Diddy are deep. His control over Whitney's life was undeniable. And just when Whitney was reportedly planning a comeback, a big one, she's suddenly gone. Coincidence? Hardly. Insiders say she'd begun pulling away, asking questions, gaining her strength back. That kind of change, it threatens the people who thrive on control. That pre-Grammy party wasn't just tone deaf, it was strategic, calculated, and that calm, collected demeanor Clive reportedly had while news of Whitney's death spread, that's not grief, that's deflection.
I'm sorry, I'm just like really, I'm in this moment right now. This is crazy. Sorry. People don't really know how much what it does to you when something that you love is taken from you and thrown away like it don't even matter, and then they move on with their lives and you're stuck. You're stuck. During those years, you're still stuck 21 years later.
Now, let's talk about Diddy again. His name is everywhere, linked to blackmail, exploitation, and hidden footage so shocking, it's said to destroy careers overnight. People are whispering that Whitney was dangerously close to revealing something about this web, that maybe she saw things, maybe she knew too much, and when someone in that world knows too much, they disappear. Just like Whitney, just like her daughter. Bobby Christina's demise mirrored her mother's to an eerie, almost ritualistic degree. Alone, submerged, gone, again in a bathtub. People were quick to call it depression, a family curse. But was it really that simple? Let's go deeper. There were battles over Whitney's estate, serious money, serious control. And when Bobby Christina passed, guess what? Control shifted again. Convenient for some, devastating for others. Who benefited? That's the question. Because when death aligns so neatly with the transfer of power and wealth, it doesn't look like a tragedy. It looks like a plan.
Let's talk about the filth that's starting to come out in the early days of the Diddy trial. This, of course, is P. Diddy. Surprise, surprise, he's a creep. Surprise, surprise, he's done horrible.
And don't forget who Whitney was. She wasn't just a pop diva, she was a cultural force, a pioneer, a legend. Bobby Christina was her heir, her legacy. 2 strong black women, gone, one silenced. Right before reclaiming her career, the other crumbling emotionally, mentally, and physically under pressure no one should have to face. Was it grief or something more insidious? Those close to Bobby Christina say she became deeply paranoid after her mother's death. She didn't trust anyone. She felt watched and trapped. She confided in friends about them, those who didn't want her to speak, to thrive, to carry her mother's torch. This wasn't mental illness. It was fear, real, justifiable fear, because the same forces that silenced Whitney were watching her too. And it worked. She broke. Then she vanished.
How many people came through his orbit? How many people could this have happened to? And how did he get away with it for so long?
And now, Diddy's fall has cracked everything wide open. His arrest shook the foundations of Hollywood. He's facing charges of trafficking, coercion, racketeering, and it's just getting started. The dam is breaking. More victims, more stories, more proof. But here's the thing. One man couldn't have done this alone. Who helped him? Who covered for him? And Ray J, his name keeps surfacing. His vague confessions, his jittery interviews. He's looking like a man running out of excuses. The pressure is rising. He's not sleeping well. He's saying too much and still not enough. If the feds push hard enough, will he finally snap? And if he does, who else falls? Clive Davis? Others? This scandal is unraveling like a thread through a $1,000 suit, and no one is safe.
And what's really going to be interesting is the parade of celebrities who we expect to be mentioned and or called into that courtroom. You know, people who we hadn't heard about prior, like Mike Myers, you know, Austin Powers, Mike Myers. Why is he getting called? Why is he on the witness list? That'll be fascinating. And then, of course, there are the no-name, quote unquote, women who are going to have to find every ounce of courage they have.
Don't be fooled. These freak-off parties weren't just wild celebrity nights. They were traps, organized, weaponized. Many names showed up, many of whom are now sweating bullets behind closed doors. Some of the most powerful people in the industry may have been caught on camera doing unthinkable things, things that could end them. The missing tapes, they're real. And if they surface, Hollywood as we know it could explode. The whispers are turning into full-on tremors. Some say there's a whole network, a crew of enablers working behind the scenes to destroy the tapes, silence the victims, protect the stars. But time's running out. Is he scared? Is he trying to make peace with what he did? Or is he trying to make a deal before the truth eats him alive? Because the truth is coming, and it's uglier than anyone imagined. And then there's the final gut punch. The haunting image of Whitney's lifeless body in that hotel room while Clive Davis's party kept going just floors below. Who does that? Who raises a glass while their star, their icon, is upstairs dead? Was that callousness or confidence? Because only someone who knows there will be no consequences would act that calm, that unaffected. People danced while her body was wheeled out. Let that sink in. In the end, this isn't just about one man. This is about an entire system that fed on power, fear, and silence. Ray J might have started out as a small-time celebrity, but somewhere along the way, he got pulled into something much darker. Or maybe he walked in willingly. Either way, the evidence is piling up. His own words are damning, his associations are alarming, and the pattern of tragedies is too twisted to ignore. So here we are, years later, still asking, who really killed Whitney Houston? Was it the drugs or the silence? Was it grief or a setup? Was Bobby Christina just another casualty or a target? And Ray J? Was he the bystander we all thought, or was he the cleaner sent in to make sure Whitney never told the world what she knew? Hollywood wants us to forget, but we're not forgetting, we're watching. And the truth, it always finds a way to rise, no matter how deep you try to bury it.